Greetings, Commanders! Welcome to Crash Landing episode 33, recorded on the 31st of January 2014. And tonight I have Alien.
Hello!
And we've squeezed in, made a little bit more room in the Sidewinder for Psycho Care! Welcome aboard, Commander!
Good evening. Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, and yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Just in from a long walk, and yep, sore legs to go with it.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I rushed home tonight so I could get set up. And how are you today, Alien? Everything okay with you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I downloaded some obscure little program that you may not have heard of.
Yeah, what was that again? You have to remind me.
Some weird space thing called Elite Dangerous.
Was it? Yeah, it was on the alpha. Is it? Yeah. So, yay, you've got access now. Yay!
Thank you to Ashley for that one, by the way.
He gave you it as a gift, did he?
No. Well, I've had a few PMs back and forth with Ashley, so. Did I say PMs? I meant emails.
Whoop. We've lost all control. It's a good start. Actually, can I just ask, Grant, are you watching me on Twitch? Do you have me muted?
I don't have you on Twitch. I'm
Oh,
about
right.
to do a little bit of another system jump to try and cut some background noise for you.
Ah, right, yeah. Okay. No, the noise is okay.
So-
It's, I just wondered if you wanted to watch, then obviously you might hear me twice, and it gets really confusing.
I'm just loading the page up now. So
Excellent. Cool. For some reason,
asteroids.
I've lost all control. It's just about to start, and I've lost it.
Happens to me all the time.
We have we have technical difficulties.
This is when you do need some kind of talking computer in your cockpit that's going, excuse me,
Bleep.
seem to be doing anything. Are you okay?
Yeah, it's really not going well. So I suppose at this point, as I'm trying to get this to reload now, I should probably mention that we've all seen the newsletter, haven't we?
Yes.
I have just this second ago.
Yeah, I've been frantically reading it myself and trying to catch in. So obviously, as you guys know, and we don't have a new version to play with today. I rushed home and everything, but yeah, we will have the latest release will be out on Monday. Yay! So I can't wait for that. That's going to be great, and of course that's going to feature multiplayer combat, which we all can't wait to get a taste of. That's what it's all about, really, isn't it? I mean, that's the main thing that Dr. Braben wanted to do in this version of Elite was multiplayer. So that's really going to be the where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, isn't it?
Nothing says fun more than blowing your friends into tiny little bits.
Absolutely. Yes, can't wait. It's going to be great fun. Yeah, we've oh, there we go. Done that scenario. Yay! Oh, so what else was in the newsletter? Remind me, Alien. I was just waffling away there.
Well, I can tell you that one of my friends had noticed something, and in the true tradition of the Elite Forum, decided to pull out some interesting details that could easily kick off another 200-page web forum argument.
Oh dear.
Let me just see if I can find it for you. There's a bit of repetition in it actually, which I thought was quite interesting. We're happy with each phase. We'll move on to the next one. So don't worry if you're planning to join the alpha. And then the very next paragraph it says, so don't worry if you're still planning to join the alpha. It's kind of like they want to really make this point. Don't worry if you're still planning to join the alpha. You'll be fine. But the line this person particularly pulled out was. As David mentioned in Dev Diary number 10, after next week's Alpha 2.0, we still have 2 major Alpha releases to roll out before we reach the premium beta stage, outfitting, travel and trading.
Yeah.
And he was trying to point out, or trying to suggest that could be a slant to say that the premium beta stage will include outfitting, travel, and trading, which of course we all know is not quite true.
No, no, no. I don't think that's. It's. I suppose it's how you interpret the wording, isn't it? But yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think that's how it's meant to be.
But yeah, so that would certainly kick off another round of arguments in the forums.
Yeah, definitely. But then yeah, it doesn't take much, does it? No, it's interesting to see that though. I mean, I think it's quite apparent at this stage. Then it's there is going to be a slight delay in getting things out. Obviously, they want to get it right rather than rush it out the door. And I agree with that fully. You know, it's better to do it right the first time rather than get yourself rushing and end up messing it up. So. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I think that's probably the best way to do it, really, to be fair.
Well, I was wondering if they were going to try and look at their matching engine, but I suppose they're going to have that in the background. When you pick your scenario, obviously it's going to take you into a session that's full, but it makes you wonder what it's going to be like if there's a multiplayer session that's empty and you get dumped in it. That's not going to be much fun.
Yeah, yeah, that is the thing, isn't it? I mean, I imagine it's got to try and fill some of the gap with NPCs or something like that, so there's always something to fight against. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how that works, and I don't imagine it being perfectly bug-free on initial get-go. It's a bit of an interesting and new thing to do. I don't think anyone's done anything like this before, this whole kind of you know, building up these instances and matchmaking on this sort of scale, so it's going to be interesting to see how it all works.
Now, are you going to be using some stealth techniques in this mission?
I'm going to try. I do prefer that style of gameplay, actually. Much to my surprise, I mean, I always thought I'd more in like the getting my hands dirty and fighting on things, but no, I do prefer the kind of like stealth, you know, way of fighting. So yeah, maybe I will.
I've not done it myself. It's one of these things. I've got obviously the hot ass controller, so I've got plenty of switches to put in all the heatsink dumps and silent running modes too.
It's just too
but
many.
I haven't. It's ridiculous. But just the other day, there I managed to get myself up to level 9 of incursion, so I'm beginning to feel a bit more confident. So the next trick is to try and adapt all the other parts of the game, and stealth is something I've not done. I mean, Alien, you've still got that to come.
I'm still to finish the third mission, kill the Sidewinder.
Yeah, it is. I think that initial playthrough, it is kind of daunting. Actually, it is surprisingly hard. But I think that's the good thing, and it's that kind of that scope for a skill to come through, and it's all about practice, really. At the end of the day, you know, there's any of these things. I noticed just back recently, I was playing with our very own Mr. Vigor, and we had a quick Quake 3 matchup. There was a couple of streams back, and you know, I didn't do too bad, but I am very much out of practice. So it just goes to show, like, you know, you have a bit of practice on a thing, and you will kind of, you know, pick up the ways of gaming the system, so to speak.
Well, I had to get some training from my 12-year-old son,
who
jumped on it for the first time that day and ended up on level 9, almost getting through to level 10. And I watched him and I thought, that's where I'm going wrong. If you're using your beam laser in incursion, hold it on and just drag it all over the ship as best you can, and you will take them out like so simple and so quick.
Like a knife through butter.
Like a knife through butter. It's only wave 5 that really causes you any grief.
Yeah.
Because once he gets the jump on you, you're struggling.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree with this. That middle section, it does tend to get tricky. I can normally get through the first few ones with little or no damage, but then I come up to that last and what have I done? Whoops, there we go. Flew straight past it there. You'll get that in a second. There's always a delay on this, Grant. It's really crazy. Yeah, it's those first few waves I could normally get through without having any damage to the ship, and then when you get to that middle one, it's a bit of a pain. It's really difficult to get through without getting completely owned on that one. I might just switch to that scenario actually and see how I can get through.
Yeah, I'm trying not to.
Sorry?
I was just saying, I'm trying not to get into the habit of flying backwards and shooting, because the Frontier are going to nerf that at some point.
Well, I don't think it's not a. I mean, I think I was probably myself that kicked off the thread, saying that caused that thread that was fly backwards is not a bad word, and I wasn't suggesting that it's a wrong thing to do. But in fact, but there you go. That guy just did it to Kerrash there a second ago. A wee bit of reverse thrust. It's not a bad thing. It's a valid tactic. But
Yeah.
I was responding to someone who said that you can't do incursion unless you do it. And having watched my son shoot up through all those levels as if it was easy, making me look like an old fool. I then copied his techniques and realised, no, you can play it gung ho if you want.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is that until the community kind of identifies these tactics that are going to work, then it's hard to say. You know, it's like, because it's saying, oh yeah, we're just going to nerf this particular tactic or that particular tactic or whatever like that. There's no good, you know, just saying that. But if there is an alternative approach to it, then it doesn't really matter if one thing or another gets changed or removed, so to speak.
I mean, the reverse is a handy thing for trying to get out of trouble, and I think it's definitely going to probably stick in Alien, but it's a handy thing to be able to do to try and get distance when the guys are sticking to you and you're in that infinite loop. It's very handy for breaking that. And I can see that Peter Risk is saying that he can't get past level 5. Level 5 is the tricky one. You have to, when you see the little engine boost, or what was it? It says surge detected.
Yes. Yep.
You need to hammer your engine boost and stay as close as you can, constantly firing at him. And when he turns on you, fly at him at full pelt and try and keep out of the laser shots, and then keep in close. Otherwise, he takes your shields out far too quick.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
level 5 it's not about evading him. It's about staying with him as much as you can, and then eventually you will take him out. But it's the one I stick at sometimes. Other times I can get past him relatively quickly. In fact, one time I took out his engines.
Yeah, and I think I can't remember whether it was you that commented on a thread, but there was something about you like someone said it anyway, like the variation in some of the scenarios. Was that you, or was that someone else? Was I?
I don't think it was.
No, it was. I remember reading it. I think it was on one of the forum threads about how, you know, even though the scenarios are practically the same, there seems to be some variation in the AI. Like they don't always follow the same tactics of you know, staying out of your reach or gunning for you or something like that. You know, sometimes they're a little bit harder than other times, which is nice to see that variation even now in these limited scenarios. And you know, it's only going to get more complex and more interesting as these scenarios play out. So,
like the wave that you're just going into now, that looks to be the level wave 3, and one of these ships has no shields.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you take him out first, then it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, it is that kind of tactical. There is some skill there, which is you know, it's nice to see that it isn't just kind of like running and gunning, which is you know, obviously not the way you want the game to be. Really, we want those interesting kind of events and little stories that we can all go away with. Oh, I was doing this great bit. You know, I was going through Zeonts, and there was this guy. He had you know, loads of weapons but no shield. So I could, you know, it's kind of those interesting variations of stories, which is what we all want to see. You know, I think that's going to be the key thing. It's not all going to be the samey kind of, you know, running and gunning. You know, once you've targeted him, and that's it, and you know, that sort of thing. I think that's going to be really nice to see all that variation in gameplay.
I think where it comes in interesting is if you get a distress call from somebody who has no shields.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and you've got to escort him back to station to safety. That's the kind of scope that this game is going to have. It's going to make it really interesting to be part of, you know, whatever story unfolds in front of you. Yeah,
absolutely. It's those subtle little nuances in the events that happen in the game. I think that's what's going to make it very, very interesting. Definitely.
I think it's now hooked my son, so he's desperately waiting to get access as in beta.
Oh, of course you've given him beta access, haven't you? Yeah, so that'd be cool, and we can all play it, get everyone in together. Oh, there, he's got his shields back again. So this is the other thing I've found with this as well. It tends to work better if you kind of take your time with this. If you try and rush through these scenarios, sometimes you kind of set yourself up for failure because you don't give yourself time to recover. Like if I keep on him, and he's 12% hull now. He's going to be trying to get away from me whilst his shields, you know, regain strength. I mean, I can pretty much take him out easily with a shot or two. But if I was in a situation where I needed my shields to recharge a little bit more, I could use this time to kind of gain my shields back rather than just running and gunning, blowing him up and then going on to the next guy sort of thing. It's almost like you've got to give yourself time to breathe in between battles, otherwise you're just going to do yourself more harm than good.
Yeah, once you've got them on the run, you know, you can ease off a little bit and give them a bit of room and recover, because the next one is the tricky one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is wave 5 now, isn't it?
So Futurist, watch this one.
Absolutely, yeah. How are we doing on the chat, actually, Alien? Sorry, I haven't...
Just a few comments. A certain Mr. Simon Winard says, what works in multiplayer is telling someone else to go first.
Yes.
Fiery Toad says, what works against the AI will most likely not work against human players.
Yeah, and that's something that I can't wait to see, actually, that variation, because, I mean, it's not only going to be interesting for us, but I think it's going to be interesting for Frontier as well, for them to see the tactics that players come up with and how that works against other players, and if they can feed that back into the AI system to make the AI more interesting and believable. So I think that's going to be fun to see.
This is the nasty swine in that wave 5. I'll be seeing slightly delayed to you, won't I?
Yeah, definitely. It is a few seconds behind yet, and he has got my shields down. The terrible bugger. See, this is the one I always get into a state here.
Yeah, I either get him quite quickly in this, or it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And you get to that point when your hull's down at 54%, you think there's just no point going on there. But then again, I think I did whole of level 8 with 11% hull.
Oh wow, excellent. That's good going.
Again, just watching my son, he just flies. He goes and he picks one out and he goes at them and he goes at them hard and takes them out and then he goes to the next one. And it just, I don't know how they don't gang up on him, because beforehand I just got ganked.
Yeah. No, I know the feeling. That's happened to me more often than not. But like you said, it does seem to be down to that kind of the tactics. If you do apply a little bit of lateral thinking, it does seem to make the world of difference. Right, where are we going now? Incoming hostile. Yep, sorry, of course I'm a little bit delayed. You're not going to see it for a few seconds.
Yeah, you were lucky actually. He did get you a bit though.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, my glass is cracked now, so that's gonna be a repair bill when I go back to the station. Never mind.
Auto glass repair, auto glass repeat.
Oh, that's really not going to help. For some reason, I have managed to alt tab out of the. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, I just thought I'd park up and let him have a few shots at me, try and give him some fair game,
Lull him into a false sense of security before you start playing better.
Exactly, yeah, he thought I was AFK, let's say. Of course, we've got all that to come with the multiplayer thing, isn't it? I mean, how do you do that? I mean, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to be in the middle of playing it, there's nothing I can do about it. One of the kids is going to come storming into the room, and it's like, what on earth do you do in that situation? That's going to get... that's going to annoy me more often than not, and that's kind of what puts me off Iron Man. As much as I want to play Iron Man mode, I know things are going to go wrong, and I'm not going to be able to give it the concentration that I need in order to succeed while at it and not get destroyed on a regular basis.
Well, I think, Iron Man, I don't think Iron Man will be particularly well subscribed at first, because I think most of us don't want to jump into that and learn the ropes, although beta's probably the best time for giving these things a go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And work out whether or not you're going to manage Iron Man.
Yeah, I don't know myself. I don't think I'm going to do very well at it, but I will definitely give it a go. I like to try anything once, really. Oh, they're getting me now.
Simon Bernard is saying, park up, have a brew, have a few custard creams. Do they have custard creams where you are, Simon?
We don't. Send us some custard creams.
Don't think they have them where Simon is.
Oh, of course, no.
They don't tend to last long in hell.
Oh, I'm going to have to change that.
I asked Simon one day, do they have digestive biscuits? And he said, no, they don't. And I'm like, what? How can you not have digestive biscuits?
Let's just try getting a decent sausage.
Just wow, yeah.
We have Vigor in the chat.
Yay!
Vigor!
Igor! Igor! He's yeah.
Oh.
Grant, don't forget, Vigor owes you a steak. I'm kidding.
Oh, that's right, from that time in Pennsylvania.
And that's why we love Psycho K. Oh, whoa!
Oh.
I cannot find him. Come on.
I was just looking at Nate Honda's asked I'm sure it might be repairing ships, got me thinking. As Explorer, it will limit your range. Or repairing your ship, you'd have to go back to the station. But I think most of these multiplayer space games, or like certainly Eve, you tend to have to abort a mission halfway through because you're too damaged to head off to the local station and then jump back out. The difference between what Elite will be and what's Eve is you'll at least have to fly that part rather than just pressing buttons and going for a cup of coffee.
yeah, absolutely. I think that's the one part of it I was really interested in that newsletter, actually, because exploration is probably going to be where I'm going to spend most of my time. That's definitely what I enjoyed most in the prequels anyway, so whoop, that was close. So yeah, definitely that I was interested to see how that's going to work with this kind of being able to repair your ship at long distances and helping each other out as well. That was one thing I really liked the sound of, because I know there's a few people that want to go off exploring with me, and we can all work together to get that a little bit further, which is going to be great fun.
Well, I mean, if you've got your friends that can come in and they've got a good cargo hold and they can hold the fuel for you, and you can do ship transfers.
Yes, yeah.
Refueling.
Yeah.
But what they haven't, as far as I've not seen the ability to repair another ship in space.
Yeah, I mean, they said about having these like packs and specialist equipment and stuff that can repair your own ship. But did they? I can't remember. There was something said on one of the older threads, maybe in the DDF, about having the ability to take something with you that would allow you to repair a otherwise, completely destroyed ship that was just sat there floating in space. So whether or not that's going to be possible, I don't know yet. But no, it'd definitely be interested to see how that's going to pan out. Oh, here we go. Yeah, come to a complete grinding halt there.
Nate Hound is saying there's no hull auto repair system this time. There's no hull auto repair system at the moment.
Not yet, yeah, not that we know of. And I'm getting my backside handed to me.
What's wrong with Hull?
What's wrong with Hull? Is it better than Slough?
Well, I think that's where we're going down for the Fantasticom, isn't it, in Hull?
Oh, right. Oh, excellent.
Yeah, it might need auto repaired after that.
Yeah. Oh, these
Simon is saying, I wonder if there will be...
Always thinking about food.
You have to eat food. Save keys to open doors.
So it
Elf,
won't just be
shut
cargo
the
that you're
food.
dumping.
That was a Gauntlet reference in case anyone didn't get it.
Ah, Gauntlet. I actually fired that up on the Spectrum the other day. Can't believe it actually works still.
Well, I think once you start getting into the sort of dietary needs of your pilot, we're maybe getting out of the realms of fun.
Yeah, that's a bit too Sims for me.
It could be hysterical though when you have a particularly long journey, especially using Explorer. When you get back, you put on 20 stone.
Yeah, true.
Some help getting out of your ship.
Quick, fire up the tractor beams. Oh, that's it. No, I think that would be going to. I think the extent of the dietary needs of my commander would be whether or not I want to pop downstairs for a snack in between missions. I think that's all I want to think about.
I just have a kettle in the cockpit and some pot noodles.
Yes, yeah, exactly. 34th century pot noodles. Those things will last for years.
I keep calling them not poodles.
Not poodles. Well, I hope they're not
I'm not
poodles.
entirely
But
sure. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that's accurate.
you never know these days. Alright, I'm going to use this time now. As I have got my backside handed to me, I got down to 16% hull. That is just diabolical. I wasn't paying attention at all, but yeah, I'm going to use the time now. I'm going to stay on this guy's 6 now. I've got it down to 1, and just wait for my shields to get back up to full strength. I think that's the best tactic here. In the meantime, we will take viewer comments.
I was using the track IR system and just the other day when I got up to level 9, and I'd noticed the strange sort of quirk with it where if you move your head to the left and to the right, rather than turning your head but move it to the left and right, the crosshairs moved.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but what I've since worked out is the crosshairs is basically your perspective changes.
Ah, right, I see what you mean, yeah. Yeah, that's
the way that the game handles is it moves the crosshairs, but they're still pointing at the same area of space. But I thought that could be a slightly unfair advantage, but it's not.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. No, I think there's well, no, I don't think it's less of a thing, but I think it's a bug more so on the Oculus Rift version of it. I've seen actually where if you oh no, that was oh well, ramming speed. I wasn't paying attention. That's why we're called Crash Landing, folks. On the Oculus version, I've noticed a weird glitch where the crosshair goes very, very skew-if to the side sometimes in situations like that. But,
maybe I think it's just trying to get that perspective change, not realising that if only the crosshair moves, it looks weird when it suddenly appears out the side window.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it doesn't give you any advantage, and it certainly doesn't allow you to aim by moving your head left and right.
No, definitely not, no. I'm just going to change one thing in there. Whilst I'm thinking about actually, I should make a bit of a, I don't know, a retraction, I suppose, for something I said last week. Alien knows what I'm going to say. I did mention last week about how I hadn't played with the Rift on this for a while, and putting it back on I felt a bit nauseous, so I thought maybe it was something to do with getting out of practice with it, but no, in fact, all this week I've been suffering from an ear infection, which has screwed up my balance and everything else, and oh dear my god, yes, playing the Rift for 20 minutes was enough to make me feel really ill. So yes, I apologise to both Oculus and Frontier. It's not them, it's me.
Are you better now?
Not too bad. I've got some things for anti-sickness, but I'm not playing on the Rift tonight because I think I would puke after about 10 minutes. So I'm taking it gently. I'm easing myself back in.
I think it's something I'm concerned about, but you know, it's a bit of kit that everyone wants, but you just don't know. Because I've got terrible from playing the likes of Doom 3, which I couldn't play because I just got so nauseous after about an hour of play. I just felt so unwell. So I'm a bit concerned that it might not be for me, but still gonna want to try it again. See what it's like.
Yeah, definitely.
It's quite it's like stepping into the world, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in a lot of respects, because it's a more natural motion, I think for some games like that, it's actually better than like where you would get motion sickness with a regular game experience, because it's a much more natural feeling. You probably would, if you did suffer motion sickness, it would probably be less pronounced than it would be with a regular game, actually. So it's definitely worth giving it another try. I mean, I wouldn't tell anyone to go out and buy it, for sure, but definitely give it a try. I mean, I did suffer quite bad motion sickness for various things, and I've gotten used to it. So I think it's different. It's not like any other thing you can compare it to. So yeah, definitely worth give it a few more goes. I think definitely. And next time we meet up, you're welcome to have an extended go on it.
Grant, did you get to go on Kerrash's Oculus Rift at Elite Meet?
Yep, I did indeed. I'd look around, it was a wee Half-Life level or something.
Ah, definitely. How did you find that, actually? Did you find that quite disoriented? Did you feel nauseous or anything after playing that? Or
No, it was really, I mean, the only point that you tended to feel sort of unnaturally is when you went up the stairs, turning your head while moving the controller in a different direction. And that kind of gives you a real strange sort of dizzy feeling. But you know, if it gives you a dizzy feeling, you can only imagine what it's going to be like if you're in some kind of zombie apocalypse game.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I will say though, actually, that's interesting because that experience is probably one of the more nauseating ones. So if you survive that quite well, you should be better with some of the other things. I mean, anything where there's like a cockpit style game is actually much better suited to something like the Rift. Just having something within your field of view, like a cockpit, for you to focus on, definitely helps to compensate for that kind of that motion disparity that you have. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think you might do pretty good with it then. Whoops, that's just scrape the bodywork. Get off.
So, Alien, are you looking at the chat there? I'm not quite sure what Rahdar is trying to say. Ho tu fart thenin lam them.
Don't ask me.
What on earth is that language?
He says his keyboard's playing up again, but I think he's maybe speaking in his natural tongue.
You never take me alive. Oh, my windscreen is completely smashed to pieces. I think one more one more hit on the front, and I think the rem lock's going to be on. Oh god, surge detected.
I wonder how much more bitterness and unpleasant threads Frontier are going to take before they go, right, you're not getting it until you clean up your working, you know. Until you start behaving, you're not getting it.
Yeah. Don't make us come back there.
I'd been in the alpha for about 10 minutes and I started causing trouble in the alpha phase 2.0 thread. Yeah, Stigron locked it and it got locked for about 4 hours, and then TJ came along and unlocked it again. So I apologise to everyone for that. That was partly my fault. But as Stigron said to me in a PM, you stopped posting, others didn't. So I'm only partly responsible for getting the thread locked.
Boom.
There's an awful lot of it's embittered and excitement, really, isn't it? It's
yeah.
Everyone's they're all rooting for it and they want it now, and they're just wanting to say really, really want it now, and it's not coming out. What's going on? And I think Frontier have been a little bit lax in communication. They've just been leaving it a little bit too late.
Yeah.
But they're doing it as best they can, and it's better than not saying anything at all.
Yeah, and I think it's probably a bit of a learning curve for them, because I mean historically they're quite a quiet company. They kind of beaver away and get on with it and then release something. This whole kind of like community-driven crowdfunding sort of thing is as new to them as it is to most of us. So I think it's a bit of a learning curve for everyone.
I mean, I made the comparison in the thread that basically I was saying, if you think Frontier Developments are bad at communicating with us, it's nothing compared to 22 Cans. Thank goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, what was their terrible cookie clicker game that they made? What was that one called? The big box thing? What was that?
Curiosity.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Oh dear. I had no faith in that since the initial announcement. I was like, this just sounds like a marketing scam, which it pretty much was.
I was seeing some negative information about the USB Spectrum keyboard thing, or the Bluetooth.
Yeah, I was kind of... I was disappointed by that. I saw the initial picture and I was like, yay, someone's remaking the Spectrum, and then I was like, oh, it's a keyboard. I was like, oh.
Even if it was a keyboard that the ROMs were loaded, could load onto.
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool. Actually, you can just plug it into a monitor and
it's not. It's just a keyboard. Just a Bluetooth keyboard. That's all it is.
I know. I could probably. I think I've got a spare chassis from an old Spectrum. It's defunct. I could probably just wire up a little 80 tiny microcontroller and just plug it into a USB port and make it work like a keyboard. But
Well, when we were doing the Retro Life Christmas special, I was doing Elite on the ZX Spectrum emulator.
oh, excellent!
And it was, the one thing about it, certainly for myself, who's had to watch my brother play it for the entirety of my childhood, it was very much, yes, stuttery, staggery, not particularly smooth or easy, but it was addictive.
Yeah, definitely.
You died and you jumped straight back in. Okay, every time I seemed to warp, I ended up with 4 blooming Thargoids. But you still thought, I'll try again, and I think that's an addictive factor that certainly this alpha has. You do sort of find yourself going, oh, bugger it for the night, and off you go, and then you come back the next night going, I'm going to give it another go. I'm going to get past that level.
One more go.
And that's the secret of fun.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I think I'm well and truly screwed now. I've got 2 minutes of oxygen left. Ah, well. Never mind. Can I take out one more dude?
I had a mad thought earlier of plugging my modern version of the Competition Pro joystick in to give that a go and see how that manages with Elite Dangerous.
Excellent. The only way to play. Does it have a Kempston interface?
If I knew what that was.
I was just the old interface you used to have to plug into the back of the Spectrum in order for it to. Whoa! In order for it to
it's a modern version, so it's got a USB connector on it.
Ah, right. Oh dear. Right, I am well and truly dead. I'm just going to sit here and see. This is the thing, actually. This is making me think now with this thing here. With this is kind of an unrealistic scenario for the final game when it comes out. When you think about it, you wouldn't just keep going wave after wave of people willy-nilly in a small ship like this. You would most likely get to that point where, what just happened to me then, I was my rem lock's activated. In the full game, you would turn away and hightail it at that point. You'd be like, right, I've got to get to the nearest spaceport, get my ship repaired, get myself some supplies and whatnot. You wouldn't sit there and wait for the next wave of bad guys to come along. So I think
it's 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes realistic. Would you not think that if you're still inside the ship, that you should be able to hook into the oxygen supply from the ship?
Yeah, I mean, I would think that, if you got yourself out of a combat situation, that you could then maybe kind of change all of your, on the right-hand view down over here with the systems controls, that you could kind of like turn everything off, put all of your power into life support, and because you're not in combat anymore, effectively you could replenish the oxygen supply that way. But if nothing else, then I would imagine that, it's like if you got yourself out of a combat scenario and headed to the nearest station, that 2 minutes of oxygen really should be enough to allow you to fast travel to the nearest spaceport. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking. Is you're going to have that enough time to get away.
But you've got no windshield. And you jump into fast travel, and just say there happens to be some kind of fly that happens to be in front of you.
Travelling it somewhere close to the speed of light.
Yes. Straight through this where you used to have a shield and where you used to have a windshield, and straight through your head. Yeah, I don't know if 2 minutes is realistic for that. You'd think it would maybe be. I know that for gaming purposes it might need to be 2 minutes, but I would be thinking you'd be talking about half an hour, so you could at least float around for a while.
Yeah, I think that time needs to be kind of tweaked and sorted out as we as we play through some of the scenarios. I think definitely in multiplayer we're going to start to find the weaknesses there.
Well, if you're floating around in space when you've only got 2 minutes, that's not even long enough for the other player to bring a ship around and finish you. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, I think it's still going to need some balance, definitely. But,
I just love the idea of these people, pilots, stranded in space, flapping their arms hard, trying to get away from another ship coming in.
Definitely, no, that's going to be really fun. There was a nice piece of concept art just recently, wasn't there, showing people floating around in amongst the debris of a ship. So it's going to be interesting to see how that sort of plays out when it becomes a real
That's where
thing.
you're going to find me. That's where I'll be.
Yeah, and Michael streaming off into the distance.
if that was me floating in space, I'd be going, I'm not George Clooney.
Oh dear. No, I was chatting to my friend about that piece of concept art when it came out actually, and I was thinking, it's like I can imagine people scanning through the wreckage trying to find the person who's worth saving. You know what I mean? It's like, no, he's got a small reward. No, oh, him. Yeah, get that one. You know, it's like cherry picking the survivors rather than just kind of like doing the humanitarian thing.
Well, you never mind that. You've got to scoop. You know, you're trying to scoop up cargo, and you end up with a slave.
Well, yeah, true. That's it. Yeah, better than fertilizer.
So, what you've got to try and think of, obviously, because I know there's the whole scavenging thread, and you've got your canisters, and I've kind of posted in the DDF around about this as well. If you buy a canister and you scavenge and you fill that canister and you go back to port and you sell it, you've lost that canister.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there must be some kind of way that you can get payment that includes the cost of that canister.
See, I have a question.
Yep, carry on. Yeah, cool.
Mr. One Vega, present to people. How are you feeling about your chances in multiplayer combat against any designated opponents?
Oh.
Get so pawned, it's unbelievable.
I don't know. I think I might be able to hold my own, but I think there's going to be a few people that pick me off. I think Vigo's going to take me out more than a few times. How about you, Grant? How do you feel about it?
Well, I think all we've got to do is find out where Vigo lives and physically threaten him, and then maybe we can beat him. No, I don't know. I'm really kind of interested to find out. I mean, I tend to play most games that are multiplayer far too gung ho. You know, I believe in taking the fight to them and getting right in there, but often that ends up with me being dead. I'm the kind of player that when you play Counter-Strike with, I'm running behind everybody, but I'm running and the bullet swerves through them and hits me in the head. I don't know how it misses all of them, but it's always me that gets killed first, no matter what I do. And you know, you hear my wife laughing herself silly in the background at me when I'm playing games, and she's like, you lost again. Yes, learn. I can do it this time. So I would reserve judgment.
You know one thing? Don't play your son.
Yeah.
No. But the thing is, and also I control the internet, so you'll find that he'll get disconnected a lot when he gets up a hand.
Ooh, get the sneeze cannon out. There we go. Oops. Missed on that last one. Damn you. Yes, what was I saying about cargo containers? Yes, cargo containers. I was reading the stuff on this, and I know people were getting a little bit heated up about how these kind of empty container situation works. The way I see it is, I mean, I know in Frontier Elite 2, you always used to have that kind of X out of Y number of units left free on your ship, and they were just kind of seen as these imaginary invisible slots. The way I kind of see these cargo containers working in the new game is this kind of you're basically just confirming and, I don't know, how can I put it, reserving those spaces inside your ship. It's almost like saying, oh, this number of slots I want to reserve to be cargo units, rather than, I want hollow space inside my ship just to save money or mass on my ship or something. I can imagine something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, to me it opens up. It's a difficult one because if there's a cost involved in these canisters and you can't recoup it, it does cause problems with, if you're buying stock, does that include a canister cost? Because when you buy an item from a space station, it should come in its own containers. Yeah. And that's where, you got a missile coming in.
Yeah, that was unusual to see a missile actually at this stage.
If you use the reverse trick, you'll see a lot of missiles.
Yeah, definitely. They do tend to try and catch you out in that way, don't they?
So sorry, the containers, I'm just thinking, it's a tricky one because it's kind of coming up with a concept to fit the idea, rather than having it as a sort of clear idea, because it doesn't fit with trading too well. I mean, it's great for the likes of mining, but does that mean miners have to carry canisters to bring back their raw materials?
Yeah, which is it's going to get annoying, isn't it? I mean, I can see why you'd have to have that limit in there, but still, I mean, I definitely see it as, if you're buying stock, if you're buying any sort of item, then it's going to come in its own container, which is fair enough. And there's going to be some containers which are going to be specialized for certain things. But like you said, when you go out mining, it's a different situation, and you're going to have some empty containers. So it's almost like you want to say, say you wanted to reserve 50% of your internal space for gaseous products and another 50% for solid materials that you've gained from mining, and then effectively just by saying reserving those spaces you kind of get those containers. Now I see that kind of working, but having to buy these little containers that then become a commodity in their own right that you can share with people and things like that just gets really confusing. And I agree, I don't really like the idea of that. I think that's going to be just a really odd concept to get my head around.
It's just it opens up a wee bit of a can of worms, because if you're going, I think reserving the space makes sense, because when you think about it, if you get compensated for the cargo canister, then they might as well just not have them altogether.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's other ways. I think if you buy, because then how do they know what's stock and what did come with its own cargo canister and what's not, what's a cargo canister that you filled. I mean, they might have it completely sussed, so we'll find out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be a question of wait and see, as with most other things, definitely. But that's definitely the way I see it. What else have we missed on the newsletter? I get the feeling we've glazed over something.
Give me a sec, I'll go and pull it back up.
Simon is asking, what he wants to know is there going to be a canister for each and every product, or are there going to be, say, 3 or 4 different canisters that cover everything, or are we going to have collapsible cardboard boxes?
Cardboard boxes! No, I mean, as with anything, I don't think we fully know yet, but I would imagine there are going to be certain classes of containers for different product types. That would seem like the most logical thing. I mean, we've seen a couple of different variations in types with like the radioactive containers and various, the latest peak of the week, I think, from yesterday, was actually showed some containers that look different to the old radioactive containers, so there definitely seems to be some variation there, so that looks like...
they look like they could be life support.
Yeah, definitely, because they're like a more solid shape and more like a little mini coffin almost, weren't they? A little size and shape to them, sort of thing. So definitely, there does seem to be some variation. I would imagine they're going to go with different classes of containers for different products. That definitely makes sense. Like I said, something for gaseous products, something for solid products. It definitely seems to be the most sensible way of looking at it. You're not going to want, a container type for every single frigging commodity you could possibly get, because that would just be so frigging cumbersome and annoying. And I don't think it would add anything gameplay-wise to the game. It would just get incredibly frustrating having to keep track of all these empty containers. I mean, can you imagine? It's like you'd have to have, one for livestock, one for hydrogen fuel, one for minerals, and all that sort of thing. It would just get so boring and tedious. It goes against the grain of how simple it was in the earlier games to just pick a commodity and buy X amount of it, and that's it. It just gets stored away. You just got to have that simplicity.
Yeah, I think you've got liquids, solid liquids, gas, and then you'll have livestock, which will also be possibly your slaves, and refrigerated.
Yes, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, things that freeze dry things and all that, definitely.
Simon says we're going to play Tetris in the cargo bay.
Oh dear, there's gonna be a bit of fan animation for that, definitely. I think when we can see that sliding all the
Something we didn't talk about from the newsletter is that the Alpha Phase 2 has been broken down into the 4 scenarios that we can expect to be playing. Where we have the updated faction scenario, where it will be 2 sides battling it out, but obviously multiplayer version. Then we'll have capital ship defense, which is where you have to defend a damaged federal battle cruiser, and I know somebody in the forums has already asked, that's wrong. Why would I want to defend a federal battle cruiser?
No prizes for who that is.
To stay with my substance?
No, I said it was somebody else, and I just said to them, because they're paying you to do it, so just do it. But miners and lawmen, protect or pirate miners going about their business. You choose how you want to play. Interesting.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. That's a whole other gameplay opportunity in itself, really. That thing, isn't it? So that's going to be really, really interesting to see how that plays out.
So that's just basically you're going to have NPC miners, and it'll either be a case of will you take them out and steal from them, or will you protect them from the pirates? So that's quite interesting. And then the last one, which is probably going to be where all the Elite Alpha 2.2 tournaments we played, and that's a free-for-all.
Yes! Where we're all going to get our backsides handed to us by the younger generation.
And something you haven't mentioned, Grant, in the newsletter is stat tracking. I think it is how they term it in the newsletter. Will you be able to acquire credits? It'll keep track of what credits you have, and the newsletter says you can trade those in for better weapon loadouts, which is just the start of trading, basically.
Yes,
well,
yes.
It's this weapons loadout, but I think it'll be more a case of you pick it and then it'll update your ship. And I wonder if Kerrash will be having a wee look at the back end to see whether or not he can unlock an unfair advantage.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
No,
I might.
I
I don't cheat. I might be.
How did he have a mega massive cannon? I don't know.
I'll just.
The Sidewinder doesn't take that sort of gun. The Sidewinder takes this sort of gun.
Although I think it'd be hysterical seeing him fire a massive cannon like that and the Sidewinder go backwards.
Yes.
Recoil. Yeah, I'll find.
There's a reason why it was called Newton's Revenge.
Oh, excellent. But if I do find a way of, finding the object ID for the the Capital Cruiser's torpedo launchers and swapping that for my little pulse laser on the front, then it's worth a shot, I suppose.
Well, you know what? If you can do it, then it's definitely worth reporting.
Yeah, definitely. And as I've had a look at a few things in there. I haven't used anything to my advantage. I did mention early on I found a way of beating the scenario timer so that I could continue flying all the way to the planet. But I didn't actually use it to my advantage to do anything. I haven't actually disclosed any of that information to anyone outside of Frontier. So, Frontier are well aware of how to do it. So.
But I mean, the thing is, the alpha is an alpha, isn't it? It's not a finished game, so.
Yeah.
But if you uncover some kind of glitch, like the likes of GTA 5 has had these glitches, and they're horrific. I ended up with 300 million credits in it, and not through doing anything, just because someone else was hacking and dropping money everywhere. So if you can find these things before you go full release, so much better.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Again, they're appealing in the newsletter for people playing the alpha to give their feedback and to use the correct forums.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about this, actually. As they've been so involved with us and getting everything nicely tuned, and it's that kind of feedback I think that everyone's really enjoyed. Is all of the tickets I've entered in, they actually responded very promptly with a message saying it would be dealt with as soon as they can. Because I think when I reported most of my tickets, it was over the Christmas period, so there was no one around to deal with them. But even then, they still come back and said, "Yep, as soon as there are people back in the office, we're going to deal with it. We're going to get this thing solved." And every single thing that I've raised during this phase of the alpha, I've got a response back now telling me that it's been solved and it will be up and working in the next version. So yes, kudos to Frontier. They've got a really effective ticketing system there. Very well.
I wonder how many bug reports got that's saying anything along the lines of when's beta coming.
Yeah, there's probably a few hundred of those, I think. Mind you, I mean, carry on.
No, so I was going to say the last thing in the newsletter is about Elite merchandise coming soon, and that their designers have been working hard to come up with a range of Elite goodies that they'll be adding to the shop over the coming months. So that's going to be with some very cool T-shirts now. They're not got a good track They've not got a good track record for T-shirts.
Oh, I know, but I'm a sucker for T-shirts. It doesn't matter what they're like. I'm a sucker for T-shirts.
That
And
first T-shirt has got to be a collector's item by now.
with
surely.
the massive logo, that's excellent. I
Yeah.
love it. See, I'd be all for that because it would fit my little avatar, my forum avatar, perfectly.
But it's not what you would call very cool T-shirts, unless they mean ones with holes in them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're open to ideas for merchandises, so that's a good idea. Because I think the things that you want mugs, maybe glasses. What about? I mean, I remember the TV series Farscape did exclusive box sets, and the most exciting thing in there for me was their printed sort of Farscape style watch.
Mm.
Now, an elite watch would be something else, and cufflinks, they would just be amazing.
Yes, yeah, that would be cool actually.
Are they really asking for suggestions for merchandise?
Yes.
Why don't they ask me? I could give them a list longer than their arm.
They're not looking for your shopping list, and I'd like elite beans. But yes, there will be elite onesies. There's got to be an elite onesie.
Oh,
elite
yes,
onesies and elite slipper socks, so that you can completely wrap yourself up in elite.
Excellent. Yes, I would so buy one of those. The next time we have a meetup, I will be wearing an elite onesie if they make one. I will so get one of those.
What I'd like to know is, are they going to do the badges? And if so, are they going to sell the badges in the shop? Or are they going to have the badge as a reward thing for
In-game.
reaching elite status?
Yeah, good point actually. I would like to get a badge. I mean, maybe if they did one, you can buy a silver one in the shop, but the only way to get a gold one is by winning it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they could maybe have badges that you can buy according to your player's rank.
Oh, yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah.
So you could maybe have a range of different badges from mostly harmless all the way up to elite, and obviously the more you go up, the different the colours, you can get a wee plastic one for mostly harmless.
Excellent. Yeah. You can have your number of your current kill rate rank engraved on the back somewhere.
So what you're suggesting, Grant, is depending on how high your elite rating is, depends what badge you are able to buy in the shop.
Yes.
You just get someone else to buy the best badge then.
Well, we'd obviously have some kind of restrictions on them, but what about if they had a kind of identification card, like Top Trumps, but you could buy your own pilot at that particular time with their stats and their information on it, just purely for absolutely no point. That's a completely ridiculous thing to ask for. So, yeah, ignore that. But I think
one thing I would like to see actually, as it's the cool in thing, and you can actually get companies to do this for you. Is 3D printing's all the rage now, and I think with all the things, the options we've got, like ship customization and stuff like that, if you could like do what they did, I think they did it with WoW characters for a while, that you could request to have your in-game ship printed and a model sent to you. I would pay so much money for that.
I think the 3D printing is just a bit too expensive, and the quality's not always there.
Yeah.
But yes, no, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I mean, if you could get something that reflects your
personal
success,
yeah,
in the game, is ideal.
Yeah, I think that's why I was thinking 3D printed, is have something which isn't just mass produced. It's distinct to you. So if you've got your little battered up Cobra with all the pock marks and burns and scratches all over it, sort of thing, it's distinct to you and it represents your gameplay time. I think that would be a really interesting thing to have on there. I'd definitely pay money for that if that came up as an option.
You could pay for someone else's ship.
Yeah, well, that one looks better. I'll have that one.
Well, how do you feel about microtransactions and possibly being able to place bounties with real money on people that will create an in-game bounty?
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you there, Alien. I don't know whether that's a workable option. It just leaves it open to too much exploitation. I think with that is the problem. someone with a lot of money could come along and completely troll you and cause you more pain than than it's worth, you know.
As someone who started a thread on microtransactions, I'm only in favour of vanity items that make no difference to the gameplay whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think.
But do you subscribe to the fact that these vanity items have to be winnable in the game as well?
Yeah, I think, I mean, if you look at a lot of these games at the moment, like these free-to-play models and, you know, some of these other, you know, these typical Facebook-style games and stuff like that, which I don't really like the model, but there's always that way you can game the system. You know, if you sit there and you put enough time and effort into it, you could obtain that thing for nothing in-game, and it's like kind of like, yes, I've screwed the system, you know, sort of thing like that. But then if you want that shortcut, the option's always there for you to pay a little bit more up front and get it. I think with things like that, with your vanity items and don't affect gameplay, I think that's perfectly acceptable way of doing things. I think that's, you know.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to have to nip off for a minute. I could be back in about 20 minutes or so. If
Yeah.
you're still going then.
Yep, that's no problem. I think that's probably a good time to just put a quick break in the stream, actually. So, excellent.
Yay, cup of tea time.
Tea time for everybody. So yeah, in case you don't come back, Grant, thank you very much for coming in tonight. It was great to have you here, and thank you so much for the mug. That was an excellent surprise. Thank you.
No, not at all. It's a pleasure. I'm glad it's all there in one piece. Most of them arrived in one piece, which is good to hear.
Excellent.
And yeah, thank you for having me, and hopefully I should see you in just about 20 minutes or so.
Brilliant. Okay then, guys, we'll see you again shortly.
Alright, cheers. Bye.